net?
Nope. It's a decent one. What is going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen. Today we're going to talk about fishing docks. Let's have some fun. Ooh, that's squeaky. There is a lot of details about fishing a dock. I'm going to try to go through as many as I can possibly think of. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's going to be full of some information that maybe you have never heard about when you're fishing a dock. Okay, so that fish came off the front end of the dock. Very first cast I usually make. Now, first of all, when I approach a dock, let me turn the camera and show you. When I approach a dock, I'm going to approach it at like a 45-degree angle to the front corner. Whether I'm coming from that way or that way, it really doesn't matter. My first cast is going to be on those corners. The reason why is because a bass will set up on those corners, and that's the most active bass on the dock. They're out there ready to catch a shad or a bait fish that swims around the outside edge of that dock. They're sitting right there. Also, the current will position them. Right now, you see the wind coming this way, and the current's coming this way. You see the bubbles trailing out of the dock. That's how you can tell that the current is flowing this way. So those fish are going to set up on the down current side of the posts. So the very first cast I'm going to make is right across the front face of the dock, or if I'm throwing a jig or a Texas rig or something like that, right up against that front coat post, up against that back post, make a couple of casts. The next cast is going to be that back corner right there, and then maybe work that whole entire walkway. I love the gangways and I love the shady areas, but those are the first casts. And then I'm gonna pick the inside of the dock apart. I'm gonna get something like a jig or a Senko or something I can skip up underneath there and get into the shadiest parts. When it's sunny, the bass are gonna hang out inside, underneath into the shade. So let's keep picking this dock apart, see if we can catch another one. In the beginning of the day when I'm fishing docks, I never just go to one dock. I go to a stretch of docks and I start fishing them, and I pick each of them apart as much as I possibly can until I start getting bit. And with each bite, you start to put that puzzle together. That's kind of what I want to do in this video, show you how with each bite, how you can put the puzzle together, what places you want to cast, how you want to fish, things like that. All right, before we go any further, I got to change hats. I lost a bet just recently. I went up to Detroit, Michigan and fished with the bass squatch hunter, Mike McKinstry, and we kind of went on a fishing tournament type deal, and the loser had to wear the other person's hat for a video, so that's why I've got the bass squatch hunter hat on. Y'all go check him out, check out his YouTube channel. He does some crazy cool edits. Just a downright good guy. So anyway, that's what you're gonna see on this video because I lost a bet. A dock really shines when the sun is out. Those bass will get really tight into that cover and into the shade, and the higher the sun, the tighter in they get and the further in they get. My favorite place to catch big bass is those places where nobody else can get to. You know, just get up underneath here. Let me turn the camera again. You know, way up underneath between the dock and that post, I might throw in down through that, or through that boat in that post. Might throw down that way, might skip it up under that way. Always have something you can skip. A Senko on a spinning rod is probably the easiest thing to skip. I like to skip a Texas rig, little rage crawl, and get it up in there and bounce it around. And I try to hit the shadiest spots. The places that people usually forget to hit are the way up underneath right there on that inside corner, and all the way around to where the gangway, here I'll show you. Let me zip around here and I'll show you. So as I'm coming around this corner, I want to get as close to that dock post as I can get. Ladders are awesome, dude. They are really, I have caught so many fish because they stick out a little bit further. And there's something different that's on that dock. And I'll throw it right up against that ladder, just down current from it. Let it sink to the bottom. Give it a little shake, hop it a little bit away from it, but not far, because they're not going to come far. They're in the shade. They're in there where they want to be. Try to get another shot right up underneath, right in between the post and the ladder. Let it sink right on down. And just work it out. Now, the place that people always tend to forget is where the gangway meets the big part of the dock. That is a super shady spot. It's a transition spot, and it's a spot where a bait fish will get trapped right there trying to go around the dock. And the big ones will sit right in there and just freaking hammer them. I need to adjust my reel. So way up underneath there, right there where that gangway meets the dock, I'll come and I'll get my boat way out here. I'll aim for that. I'll hit that one post right here. Work it out a little. Oops, I think I just got a bite. That was a bluegill. And right that shady spot, right where the main gangway hits the main part of the dock. Time of the year has a lot to do with where the bass, oops, there's a fish. That was a bluegill again. Bluegill holding out from these things. But anyway, time of the year dictates where these fish will position on these docks. Early spring, when they're up pre-spawning and all the way up to where they spawn, they like to be in the shallow part of the dock, whether it be a shallow post, a shallow part of the gangway, something like that. It just all depends, you know. It's just one of the places I always check first. I work my way all the way around the entire dock, especially in the spring. A lot of times they'll spawn right where the seawall meets the dock. They'll spawn under that shady spot, and whenever they're shallow anywhere in the lake, they're going to be there, man. It's just the way it is most of the time. Now, there is a difference between permanent docks and floating docks. I'm only going to talk about permanent docks in this video. Floating docks is a whole different video, whole different way of fishing it. That's one I'll do at a later date. All right, so as I'm working these docks, every single bite is a clue. As soon as I get my first bite, I look down at my fish finder, see how deep I am. How deep is that dock? All right, when choosing docks, think about what time of the year it is. Are the fish going to be shallow or are they going to be deep? Summertime, they like to get deep. Wintertime, they like to get deep. Spring and fall, they like to be shallow. Pre-spawn, they like to be shallow. If you feel like the fish are shallow, start on the shallow docks. If they feel like they're going to be deep, start on the deeper docks. I love to fish docks in the summertime. I mean, docks are good all year round, but summertime is probably one of my favorites because it tends to concentrate them on those deep docks. You'll find a ton of fish on just a few docks. Last I checked.
Y'all wearing them out today?
I've caught a few, maybe one more. That was a big one, whatever it was. I'm not even gonna go out there. There you go. This is my favorite stretch of docks on the whole lake. Yeah, I bet. Now another thing to look for is new versus old. That's a brand new dock, or actually it's a new addition to the dock. And a lot of times there won't be fish on a new dock. Old, I don't know if it's an old tail or whatever, these old timers tail, but they tend to like, bass tend to like the older docks better. I guess there's more stuff growing on them that attract bait fish, and it tends to hold the bait fish a lot better. But never hurts to cast. Kind of a situation I'm in right now. I'm losing my son. What happens when the sun goes away, or if it's low light conditions? The dock bite usually is not great, but they will be around the docks. So I spend a little bit more time bringing the bait out away from the docks, or if I'm throwing a square bill or a spinner bait, working away from the docks a little bit, and they'll just kind of be scattered around. But still might be up underneath it. You never know. I'd like to thank that lady that just buzzed by me in her little ski boat, had no clue what to do, just kept on going. Nothing like safe boating. I threw that son of a gun right up in a place where hardly anybody's gonna throw to. Drug it once and got bit. Come on, guy, let me grab you. There we go. Right up in a little crack, hopped it twice, and there he is. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look down, I'm gonna see try to remember how deep that was. It was about 5 feet deep. We fished an 11-foot depth, and we came around and fished a 10-foot and then a 5-foot, and I got bit at that 5-foot. So I'm gonna start concentrating a little bit more at that 3 to 5, maybe 8-foot depth. See if that makes a difference. It's all about putting that puzzle together. Where I made that last cast was right in between that dock and the solid dock and the floating dock past. Now where I made that cast was right down that hole right there. Threw it as far back as I could, hopped it twice, and he was up under the shade of that little gangway that's right there. Another question you guys I know you're thinking of is what lures are best for dock fishing. Really, there's such a long list. It's hard to name them all, but I'm gonna name a few that I like to fish. Of course, a creature bait or some type of a Texas rig. A shaky head trick worm, black trick worm is my favorite in most of the places I fish, just because there's a lot of color in the water. Crankbait, a little square bill, a deep diving crankbait if it's a deep dock, a spinner bait. It's all situational. If it's windy and there's not a lot of visibility and the bass are scattered, I'm going to throw a square bill or a spinner bait. If they're tied up underneath the dock and they're tied under cover, it's going to be something I can get up underneath that dock, make pinpoint accurate casts, let it drop down next to a post on the dock, and just, you know, it just all depends. Cinco is a dang good bait to skip underneath the dock. Another one that I just found a few years ago that I love is a Z-Man pop shad. That son of a gun will skip as far under the dock as you want to. It makes you look like a pro. I meant to grab some this morning, but forgot to grab some off the pegboard. Jig, of course, and a skipping jig. Now I've got a video about how to skip a jig. I'll put a link right up here. But a skipping jig is kind of it's an archy head jig. With not a whole lot of skirt material, and you know, I like to skip a 1/4 ounce or a 3/8 ounce, nothing really heavier than that. My favorite skipping jig is the Greenfish tackle skipping jig. Now if they're on a square bill, I mean if they are absolutely annihilating a square bill, to maximize the number of fish that I catch underneath docks on a square bill, because of course a square bill, it's difficult to skip it underneath the dock. What you're doing is you're running it alongside the dock. Well, what I do is I take my pair of pliers and I tie 2 square bills on, one rod, one on another rod, and one of them I'll tweak the little tie right here, not the split ring, but the tie. I'll just tweak it just a hair to the right, and the other one I'll tweak it a hair to the left. What that does is it makes that lure track a little bit one way or the other, a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. So when you're going along the right hand side of the boat dock, you want it to track to the left. So when you cast along there, that bait goes up underneath the dock a little bit and bangs up against those dock posts. One of those really cool little tricks. Same thing on the left side, you get one that travels to the right and bangs up against the dock post. That way you get away with not making the most accurate cast in the world. We got the little fish pattern going.
I got the no fish pattern going, Dad.
Throw it in there.
Okay.
Yep, let's sink. Get him in the boat. Nice. Jordan done got him one on the outside corner of a dock. That is like the prime spot. Would you like Daddy to take it off the hook for you? All right, show the camera. Jordan, what Jordan does, catch a little fish.
Shut up.
Now Daddy gonna choke it up in there.
God, tip it. Sink it.
Daddy throw up on the same corner, catch one bigger. Nice, same corner. All right, so the boat is in 3 feet of water. These fish are shallow. I'm going to focus on boat docks in 3 feet of water and then try to pinpoint exactly where those boat docks are positioned. Like this one's in the back of a creek arm, and not a big creek arm, but a little creek arm. And so I'm gonna start fishing a whole bunch of docks that are shallow and see if I can't even narrow that pattern down even more. Yes, she did. That one's right there on the back of the dock. Same spot. I think we got a pattern going. 1 fish is a luck, 2 fish is a pattern. Let's go. When the days get tough and the bass are under the docks, a lot of times it's all about where you cast the bait. It's got to be a pinpoint accurate cast. A lot of times in the shadiest part of the bait with a finesse lure. Skip a Cinco, throw a shaky head up underneath there. Little short leadered drop shot would work too. Something you can accurately get into the deepest, darkest holes of a dock. And if you can do that, a lot of times you'll come out on top. Man, you can catch a snot out of fish even in the toughest days, but like I said, it's got to be a slow, finessey presentation. Don't hit somebody's boat, but a nice little finessey presentation and you'll catch a few, that's for sure. It's time for me to start catching some big fish. I'm taking this hat off. I'm gonna put my Licky hat on. Y'all be sure to check out Basquatch Hunter. He's got, like I said, he's got really good edits. He's a good guy. It's fun supporting him. But anyway, time to go back to dock fishing. So Jordan made a prediction. He says I'm not gonna catch a fish off of this dock. Unbelievable. Only good stretch or good dock on this entire stretch is right here. Did you say what? You ain't gonna catch a fish off this dock? Mm-hmm. I think he said, Daddy, I don't think you're gonna catch fish off this dock. Mm-hmm. That's what you said. Look at that. Dock fishing 101. All right, so other things you look for when you're looking at docks that will tell you whether the dock is going to have a potential of having good fish or not, is you look for docks that have rod holders on them. Chairs set up with rod holders or old rod holders, and then you go over top of the end of that dock and you look for the brush piles that they've put out, because they're fishing those brush piles out in front of their boat dock. Some boat docks have a lot of brush piles, some only have a few. Look for brush piles that are up underneath the docks. And a lot of times that'll tell you that's somebody that fishes and understands what needs to go around their boat dock to be able to catch more fish. So great place and great thing to look for. Now sun's up high, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You are going to see me skipping way up underneath this dock as far in as I can get and working it all the way out. Those fish are going to be way in there. This is when I'd grab a Cinco, but too lazy to tie one on right now. All right, so if you're looking at a line of docks, see right here, I've got a whole line of docks along the bank. Look at that. Okay, if you have one that sticks out a little bit further, a lot of times that's a good one because it's closer to deep water. It may be out on a point. One that's got a lot more shade, you see that one that's got basically the whole stinking house built on top of it. That one's gonna have a lot more shade. So things that stick out, docks that stick out further typically are ones I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on. And then, of course, the docks that have a whole bunch of shade, like I've been saying all day, so. Got him. Same spot we've been catching them all day. That's what I'm talking about. Whew. It's all right. And guys, not a big one, but we got a pattern. We're catching fish. It's a whole lot of fun. I hope you guys learned something from this video, learned how to fish docks. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. I got it. More important to get out on the water. Go out, catch some fish, and have a great day. See ya. Drop a fish. Have fun.